when Deinosuchus ruled the earth, as long as T-Rex, but twice as heavy. This ancient alligator makes for terrifying nightmares. Now a new study reveals there wasn't just one Deinosuchus species, but three. More than 75 million years ago, a formidable carnivore lurked in the coastal swamps of North America, and dubbed the animal an ancient member of the croc subgroup that contains modern alligators and Cassette and Broku, however, found they were indicative of different animals entirely. One species had a rounded snout, while the other two sported more pointed snouts. And among the latter, one had thinner, more closely spaced ribs, suggesting a narrower chest cavity. According to Cassette, however, Deinosuchus wasn't particularly picky about its meals. Rather than being a dedicated carnivore, it was more of a generalist that would chomp down on pretty much anything it came across, whether that be fish, turtles, amphibians, dinosaurs, or early mammals. He notes that the animal had elongated, paddle-shaped limbs that would have propelled it efficiently through the water. Drumheller-Horton suspects that Deinosuchus fed primarily on turtles, which are nutritionally rich and protected by shells, meaning that the animals needed powerful jaws and strong skulls to crack them open. A huge amount of prey would have been required to sustain a huge amount of growth, says Drumheller. The energy return on investment of catching, say, a duckbill or a turtle would have been high, because those animals would have provided the crocodilians with a lot of calories for their size, and would have been easy to capture. It lived from about 82 to 72 million years ago, vanishing sometime before the end of the Cretaceous period, perhaps during a mass extinction event triggered by a comet impact. For now, then, we can safely admire the fossils of dinosaurs and other safe in the knowledge that no matter how scary they seem, they'll never be able to harm us. Though the planet eventually gave rise to another huge crocodilian, the ancestors of modern alligators, it never again produced a monster quite like Deinosuchus. Luckily, we can marvel at these ancient gators without having to worry that they'll chomp us. They disappeared long before humans, or even mammals as we know them today, ever evolved. She adds that the duck-billed dinosaurs that shared their habitat would have also been well defended against smaller predators because of their beaks and bulky buttocks. Crocodilians are understudied, says Cassette. People think we know everything about them, but we don't. There are plenty of specimens sitting in museum drawers that might turn out to represent their own species. And thanks to new technology, scientists can continue to unearth fascinating facts about crocs from the comfort of their labs. By applying advanced imaging techniques to existing fossils, they can gain insights without ever needing to disturb the specimens. I think we're going to find a lot more diversity in the fossil record, says Cassette. That would have left larger crocodilians like Deinosuchus best suited to take them on. And indeed, paleontologists have found abundant evidence of Deinosuchus tooth marks on dinosaur bones. He also suspects that the gargantuan gator had webbed feet. We don't have enough of the foot to tell for sure, but I suspect they were webbed because the other aquatic crocodilians of the world have webbed feet, he says. Webbed feet would have given Deinosuchus an edge when pursuing prey or escaping from fights with members of its own species. And webbed feet and an aquatic lifestyle likely reduced the evolutionary pressure for Deinosuchus to compete with terrestrial dinosaurs for food. So there was nothing constraining how large they could grow. Of the three, Deinosuchus was the smallest, maxing out at about 4 meters long. How exactly giant alligators managed to be giants is a big unknown in the field of paleontology. Drumheller-Horton believes that since Deinosuchus spent most of its time in water, which provides buoyancy, it didn't need to expend as much energy staying upright on land, allowing it to grow bigger than terrestrial predators. The absence of terrestrial locomotion may have also prevented the buildup of excess wear and tear on the animal's limbs. By contrast, D. barburi could get nearly twice as long and weigh as much as 2 tons. The third species, which the team has nicknamed the red wolf species for its reddish-brown fossilized ribs, falls somewhere in between Deinosuchus and D. barburi in terms of size. We used the largest number of specimens to date, and we determined that 3 species of Deinosuchus existed in the fossil record, says Cassette. For duckbills and other herbivores, that meant contending with a whole slew of swamp-bound chunks. The finding parallels other research on living crocodilians. We used to think that there was only one species of Nile crocodile, says University of Tennessee Knoxville paleontologist Stephanie Drumheller-Horton, who was not part of the new study. But genomic sequencing revealed that there are really 2 distinct species, though Deinosuchus is too old for DNA to have been preserved. Paleontologists can still pore over fine anatomical details to distinguish one species from another. The sheer enormity of the alligaran, the fact that it was often presented in museums with jaws agape as if ready to snatch up a visitor, made it a fossil legend. But according to a new study, what was once thought to be one species may have been as many as 3 terrifying species. Other fossils came from sites in North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, and Alabama. Previously, paleontologists had been able to reconstruct aspects of dinosaurus anatomy, because the bones and armor plates of its back overlapped like roof tiles, meaning that no matter how an animal ended up fossilized, its parts could usually be matched with those of other individuals. With this latest study, however, researchers found that the mosaic of overlapping armor plates was unique to each species. Similar to the complex puzzle they fit together, that's the conclusion reached by paleontologists Adam Cassette and Christopher Broku from the New York Institute of Technology and the University of Iowa, respectively. After puzzling together hundreds of fossils including newly excavated specimens collected from more than 10 states over the past century, this ancient behemoth was not a dinosaur, but a 10-meter-long alligator that weighed up to 7 tons, as much as a full-grown elephant. With its snapping jaws, Deinosuchus was the largest predator of its ecosystem, and it made snacks out of the duckbills and horned dinosaurs that plodded near prehistoric markers. Despite its menacing stature, Deinosuchus has largely remained an armor-encased mystery since William Jacob Holland first discovered its bones in Montana in 1909. No skull, much less a complete skeleton, had yet been found. All the same, researchers have remained fascinated with the enormous reptile. In 1954, Edwin Colbert and Roland Bird of New York's American, the Museum of Natural History, pieced together a plaster and fossil model of the ancient reptile, using what bones they had found, filling in missing parts with the anatomy of modern Cuban crocodiles. Over time, paleontologists assigned various Deinosuchus fossil discoveries to a single species, Deinosuchus hatchery. Scientists had previously identified anatomical idiosyncrasies between various Deinosuchus finds, but chalked those up to mere variations on a single species. Each of the 3 species the researchers identified, Deinosuchus hatchery, Deinosuchus barbori, and Deinosuchus 433, possessed a unique suite of features. To reach their conclusions, the researchers analyzed 245 fossil samples, including 46 new specimens unearthed in 2021 from a site in northeastern Montana known as the Hell Creek Formation. The predator's vast size, formidable weaponry, and aggressive nature would have turned it into a fearsome apex predator in prehistoric waterways. Now, as for why these reptiles grew so stupendously, matching Tyrannosaurus rex by length but outweighing it 2 times over, is another mystery scientists are hoping to answer. Cassette agrees that life in the water probably had something to do with the giant growth of Another possible driver of the animal's giant size is its diet. After crunching the numbers on the ages of potential turtle and dinosaur prey, Cassette estimates that Deinosuchus would have required 13,000 calories per day to meet its energy needs, equal to the daily intake of an active grizzly bear. The team hopes that their study will encourage other to analyze the nuances of crocodilian fossils to learn more about their diversity and evil. Deinosuchus may have been one of the largest carnivores in its ecosystem, but its reign of terror was relatively brief. One of the few pieces of good news about gigantic meat-eating monsters from millions of years ago is that they tend to go extinct before they get a chance to meet us. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe.